So good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dangler,
Here.
Mr. Vieira,
Here.
Mrs. Wittes,
Here.
Dr. Selly,
Yes.
Dr. Vogt.
Here.
I hereby certify that this meeting has been published in the newspaper and adequate and electronic notice has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act and the New Jersey Administrative Code, Title 5, Chapter 39, Section 1.5. Notice of remote public meetings are required by law.
Okay, thank you, Heather. So on the agenda tonight, we have a presentation of the 2020 annual audit by Mr. Robert Swisher. Then we'll have old business, new business with Hometown Heroes and a review of the regular meetings. So we're going to jump right into it and turn it over to you, Mr. Swisher. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Not a problem. Unfortunately, Robert could not join us this evening. So this is John Swisher. I'm his brother. And I'm also, I'm a partner with Bob. Hey, listen, it's not the first time people have mistaken the two of us. I am a partner with Suppley Clooney Company. And we recently concluded the audit for the year ended December 31st, 2020. The audit is required by law by the state of New Jersey to be conducted every year. And I think I have some pretty good news tonight. The main reason that you hire us to do your audit is to render an opinion on your financial statements and whether they are free from material misstatement. That means that we go into the records of the finance office that Mike does and check and make sure we put together into the financial statement form that the state requires. And we check those numbers to make sure that they're correct. And what you're looking for is an unmodified opinion. That means that we can say that they are free from material misstatement. And that's the opinion that you're going to get on your financial statements this year, unmodified. And that's the best opinion you can get. There are two other opinions in the audit. One relates to internal controls and compliance. Internal controls are the rules and regulations that you've put together there in Long Branch to make sure that the transactions are recorded properly. The controls are designed properly and they're in effect. We did testing to make sure that that was true. And again, that's a clean opinion. No problems with the internal controls or compliance. In this particular year, you have a third opinion because you have a single audit. A single audit occurs when you have over $750,000 of expenditures against either federal or state grants. Obviously, a lot of municipalities this year got a lot of the CARES Act money, which is spurring on single audits in a lot of them. When that happens, we have to do additional testing to make sure that those grant funds are being spent properly. Again, no comments, no recommendations to that, a clean opinion. So 3 for 3 on the opinions. In addition, the thing that everybody always wants to know is, were there any comments and recommendations in the report? And I'm pleased to report that there are none. There was one thing that I did want to mention tonight, that you need to do a resolution to increase your bid threshold. Every 2 years, I believe, the state increases the maximum bid threshold that you can utilize. And last year, they increased it to $44,000. And generally speaking, you go up to the maximum. That has to be done by a resolution of the governing body. We've spoken to administration and to Mike about that. And it's a very pro forma thing. But once again, you probably should take advantage of that. I'll touch really quickly on the financial condition. You're in excellent condition. The surplus is very healthy, and that's reflected in the fact that you have a AAA rating, which is fantastic. And a lot of times that they're looking at your community, they're looking at certain factors in terms of the actual demographics of the community, but also how you're keeping your surplus up. And you're doing a great job with that. So try and continue to do that. And that's really it. I mean, you're hitting on all cylinders here. It's a good report. I have to give credit to administration, of course, to Mike's office and Patrice. Very helpful. I always kind of look at it this way. When you ask questions and you get the answers, you don't get blank stares back. Because believe it or not, sometimes I get that. I don't get that in Long Branch. And that makes it a good engagement to do. You got a great staff there, and that's reflected in this report here. So I'm hoping that people have gotten a copy of the report, Mike. I'm not absolutely sure whether they have or not. But I'll take any questions that anyone has right now on the audit report.
How long does it usually take to perform an audit?
Okay, good question. Depends on the size of the municipality. Okay, Long Branch is a larger municipality in terms of we do about 63 audits, and we have ones that are larger than you, and we have a lot of ones that are smaller than you. And depends upon the complexity of the audit. Okay, Long Branch has a lot of complex things going on there. So the answer I would give you is it would take probably between 3 and 4 weeks to complete the field work for a job of your size. A smaller job, about 2 weeks to 3 weeks. And then some of our larger jobs, we do a couple of county audits. Those could take up to 6 weeks. But for you guys, between 3 and 4 weeks. And this last year was longer, okay, because of COVID. This year, better, okay, but still not as easy. We're hoping to get back to that a little bit, but that's generally speaking how long it takes to do all this testing. And bear in mind that the state of New Jersey is pretty big on compliance. They got a lot of rules and regulations if you haven't noticed already. And we're responsible for that. So as a result, we have to do a lot of testing, okay, on your payroll, on your purchasing, all these different things. And that's pretty time consuming. Hopefully that answers your question.
Thank you. Yes.
Is that just you, or do you have a team underneath you?
There's a team that conducts the audit. So there's a partner on the job, which is actually my brother, Bob. I'm the concurrent partners. I also review the job. The staff that does the job consists of a manager, a senior, and a staff member. And then we've probably have rotated in an additional staff member a little bit. So between 3 and 4 people on the ground in the field, actually at the city. Okay. And then, you know, the review from the partner and then the concurrent partner as well.
Thank you.
So, John, put the surplus in context for us a little bit. What's whether it's percentage wise or you know, the actual dollar figure, and you know, how that compares, you know, in terms of a city our size.
Yeah, you're in good shape. Your surplus is up a little bit. You're challenging me here a little bit because I'm actually doing the Zoom from my car without my second screen. So I don't have that directly in front of me, but I want to say, just if you give me 2 seconds here, and Mike, you might be able to help me out as well. If you give me a moment, I should be able to bring that right up for you.
What do you want, the balance?
Yeah, the balance of the surplus. I have it as well.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
like
have to go.
650. Like 17,650,000.
I think that sounds absolutely right to me. And it's up slightly from the year before, 17,665,000, 16 million the previous year, approx. So up a little bit. And so I would say that you're in good shape with your surplus. And I would go back to what I was commenting before. There's no magic number in terms of a percentage of your surplus of, say, your budget, for instance. What's happening in Long Branch is you guys are maintaining an excellent surplus. And as a result, you get this AAA bond rating. As a result of a AAA bond rating, you're able to borrow at a lower interest rate, just like having good credit. Everybody's got a credit score. You've got an excellent credit score. And one of the large components of that is the fact that you have an excellent surplus. Not only that, but you manage your surplus well. As you're probably all aware, each year you utilize some of your surplus as an offset, as a revenue in your budget to kind of control taxes as well. So not only do you have a good surplus, but you use it judiciously. And when the rating agencies come in, Moody's and Standard & Poor's, and they give you your rating, that's one of the key things that you can control that they're going to be looking at. Other things, demographics within the community, sometimes are out of your control. Okay, we know that housing is, or your net valuation taxable is going up right now. That's nobody's fault. It's just you're doing a good job in terms of redevelopment and stuff like that, but it goes up and down sometimes based upon the economy. You can't always control that. Your surplus, you can control, usually, okay? And you can control how you use it. You're regenerating your surplus each year. Okay, so your surplus is staying level or hopefully even trending up a little bit. But again, I would say that you're in great position surplus-wise.
Good, thank you.
Mhm.
Any more questions?
I just wanted to say to Mike Martin, thank you so much. You did an excellent job as always. And we know it's not an easy task, you know, maintaining all the accounts, you know, for a city this size. And you've done a wonderful job, and I commend you and your staff. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll lay your praise. Thank you.
And-
Yeah,
and
go
Mike, I
down.
think I think you can say that the whole council, you know, seconds what Rose said. Congratulations on a job super well done. Isn't this, how many years in a row now has it been that we've done a clean audit like this? I'm thinking 3, but I might be making that up.
I stopped counting after 5 or 6. I don't.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I
There you
can't
go.
I can't answer that question. I think we've done the last 3. And I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I was more involved in the first year, and I don't believe there was any comments. But again, I'll tease Mike a little bit. He comes with an auditing background. Okay, so he did what I do for a living now for a few years, as did Patrice, as did somebody else in your office as well. Mike started out, and I
Case-
will, Okay, so I'll always say that as I look around at my clients, the best CFOs started out as auditors. Now, my CFOs that weren't auditors here that probably get mad at me, but it's a certain mindset, okay, that you bring to the table as a former auditor. I don't think you can shake it, and I think that really plays well in Long Branch. You're deep in your finance department. You put your resources into your financial reporting function, and again, that's expressed in the report.
Well, wonderful. As you said, when you opened it up, John, you said you had good news for us, and you certainly did. So you delivered. Thank you very, very much. Regards to your brother. And
Thank
again, Mike, you and your staff just should feel tremendous. Great job. So,
Yes,
All right, folks, if you have any other questions as you're going through the report, just speak to Mike or to George, and they can reach out to me or Bob, and we can answer any more of your questions if anything else comes up.
thank you so much.
Have a great
Okay.
night, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
John.
You do
Thank
too.
you.
Okay, good. So let's move on to the second item, which is old business. We don't have anything listed on these. We kind of keep them open. Any old business?
We had a little bit with Director Saldita that we're going to review today with quality of life director. Did you make any phone calls? Well, we had the quality of life a little bit last week.
We did go out with a quality of life unit. We really didn't get any crazy calls across the board. I mean, some normal activity. It really isn't worth us expending that kind of manpower from what I'm seeing and talking to the commander in patrol. But at the same time, we're going to monitor and see what's going on. I think we're coming towards the end of the season. We'll keep an eye on it, maintain it. And we're also maintaining the beaches. We got a couple of complaints with loud boom boxes on the beaches. So we're maintaining that. And we're using our actually our class ones in beach rescue people, that when they do identify it on the beach, they stop, they give a warning. If they come back and it's still on, they're giving out summonses. So yes, Councilman, we are monitoring it, but not a great amount of calls coming in to expend the dollars that were necessary.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mario, one of the things that Heather is doing is, keeping a running list of all the things that, the topics that come up in old business and new business. So,
Okay.
we can always revisit things as time goes on. Anything else for old business? Let me do a real quick update. And this one is, I haven't been able to get to it, but for Heather and me to get together and get the letters out to the chairs for our boards and commissions, so we can start those invitations. But it's on the list, and hopefully this week we're going to be able to get to that. So that's one other piece of old business. Anything else? Okay, let's move on to new business. And Rose, I think we're going to turn this one over to you in terms of the work you did on Hometown Heroes.
Hi, thank you. I don't know if everyone's received a copy of the proposal, but I'll read it to you. It's not very long. It's to honor veterans who live or have lived in Long Branch and have served in the armed forces. Some towns honor those who have died in combat or passed after their service, but other towns honor fallen heroes, veterans, and active duty military. I personally prefer the second because I think that when people give up their time and their lives for our country, they deserve to be honored. The banners will have a photo and the name of the veteran on them. Applications will be accepted anytime. Banners will be printed twice annually. They will be on display from Memorial Day to Independence Day and the month of November. And I'm telling you all this to see if you all agree with this. They can be displayed at City Hall, parks along Main Street and Long Branch. The spring deadline for applications will be March 15th and the fall deadline will be August 31st. The applications will be submitted to the city clerk's office. I'm suggesting a $65 donation, depending on the cost to print the banners. And organizations can also sponsor banners as well. And then I also attached what the application would look like. And it basically has the first and last name of those who were requesting a banner, and then all the veteran information and so forth. So basically that's it. I mean, I didn't come up with this idea myself. I spoke with Kathy DeBonis, who was born and raised in Long Branch. She no longer lives here, but her dad lives here. And she had noticed it in other towns and thought it might be a great idea for Long Branch. And so I presented to you tonight. So now I'm just open to your comments, how everyone feels about this program.
I'll go first, I guess. I really support that, Rose. I think that's a great idea, and you can't replace what our veterans do for us. So I'm 100% in, and you did a great job with the letter and the application stuff, and
Oh,
great job. And I support that 100%, Rose.
thank you.
I too support anything we want to do for our veterans. My only question, you said, I believe a $65 donation.
Well, that's up in the air. It depends on how much it's going to cost to actually print the banners. So I will talk to Stan about that. So it could be less than that. I don't see it being any more, but you know, I don't think this should be a fundraiser. I think it should be something that we're doing for a community. So I will ask Stan, you know, what the costs are, and you know, if you're okay with that, that's what we would go with.
But where would the donation come from?
It could come from anyone that would like to sponsor a banner.
Okay. No, I was just curious. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Councilwoman, have you considered maybe teaming up with the VFW or to have them screen people and make recommendations? And I know that this program is in a lot of towns, and typically that's the way it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm open to any suggestions. Like I said, I just, VFW would be a great idea to partner with as well.
Yeah, because otherwise I'm not sure that the clerk's office has the bandwidth to do what it is that you're asking them to do. But the VFW would be, you know, some veterans organization, that would be great. And not only that, you get them, their participation in it too. And
yeah, I mean, I can speak to them as well.
Is there any way, Rose, excellent, great job.
Thank
And my question is, and Lou, maybe from your experience in other places where they have this, is there any way around that $65 donation in terms of some sort of sponsorship, so it doesn't come from the individual? Do most of them have a
It
charge?
doesn't necessarily come from the individual. You could yourself recommend someone to be honored and pay for it yourself. I'm not saying that the veterans have to pay for this. You can sponsor someone. So it's not like we're saying, and like I said, $65 isn't the exact amount. It's going to be whatever the cost is, and we have to speak to Stan about that.
yeah, that's why I'm saying that this might be one of those things where if you partnered with someplace like the VFW, I know, for instance, in Middletown, they have an ordinance that they name streets after war veterans. I think in Middletown is probably as people who have died in the line of duty. And I live on one of those streets, Papa Street, and the VFW actually puts the signs up so that my street sign says Papa Street, but on top of it has a sign put up by the VFW with the name and the war and the date on it. It's a pretty cool program. So I know that they're involved in those programs in a lot of places.
Mary Jane?
I think you did a great job, Rose, and I appreciate it. I just have not been too involved with it. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
I think you did a great job too, Rose. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. And then I'll pursue it. Mary Jane, maybe you and I can reach out to the VFW and talk to them about it. And again, we'll speak to Stan and see what the cost will actually be, and then we'll get back to you. How's that?
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone.
Good,
Okay.
Rose, thank you. So we'll keep it on the agenda for an update from that conversation with the VFW. So many thanks, nice job. Good, so on the topic of new business, there's actually one more. Anybody else with new business?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna ask Domingos to step up on this one. It actually is kind of the next step from an idea that we talked about last time, which was a monthly report from the police department on activity related to the opioid situation. And the thinking behind that was Sergeant Decker came to one of the HERES meetings, and usually it's Kim Levy who comes, and both of them just do an excellent job in doing a report on what the activity has been. And we were thinking that it would be good for all of us just to get a better sense of, to what extent is this opioid epidemic really, I'll say paralyzing our town, damaging our residents and everything. So we thought, if we spoke with Domingos to see if we might be able to do a regular monthly report, somewhat along the lines of what Eric Brockman does for the zoning board. Succinct, good, clear information that in a glance tells us what's going on. So Domingos, let me turn it over to you because you do have a draft, something that was already that you've put together.
So thank you, Councilwoman. What we have is I spoke with Sergeant Decker, and he basically did a first draft of what we're looking to present, but we're also asking that council take a look at it. I haven't emailed it to everyone yet. I think Council President's the only one that got it. But with your permission and council's permission, I'd like to send it out to the mayor and everybody else just to take a look at it. It's nothing that's really crazy. It just depicts what happens during that time period of the month. It documents the overdoses that come in, the arrests that were made, the calculations that were done on numbers, any fatal overdoses, arrests that are made during the time period, targeted areas that are identified. And it also gives you a spreadsheet on the second page, not a spreadsheet, but a tally of year to date of how many confirmed overdoses and in the month of August, fatal overdoses for the month and for the year, and the same thing for opioid arrests. And it also identifies areas that we see that are being most affected by narcotics or overdoses, which right now in the last couple of months, we've really been seeing a lot of activity coming out of sober living homes. So that only means to me that even though the state is giving these folks licenses to operate as a sober living home, there's really no oversight on their part. They're supposed to have someone that is assigned there to do the oversight on it. But if a lot of it is coming out of there, there must not be too much oversight. So Sergeant Decker is looking at that. We're also looking at the narcotics and the brands that come out of there that affect the overdoses. Although we all know that we're struggling a little bit with manpower, and the street crimes unit that usually does most of this narcotics work is working with one guy, due to the fact that we have them in patrol covering those openings. They're still coming in with information, but once they get rebuilt back to their strength, we'll see a lot more. So I feel, and Sergeant Decker also feels that there's a lot that's going on with the state and the laws that have changed and criminalized a lot of activity as far as narcotics, and especially the marijuana trend, that Now, it's going to be a tough task to really get these numbers to where they were before. You probably won't see those high numbers anymore due to those factors, but we will continue to work as hard as we can to bring that to the city of Long Branch. And not only that, but indicated in this report. So if you guys feel, ladies and gentlemen, feel that you want to take a look at it and it's authorized, I will email it as soon as you tell me so right now during this meeting, so you could see, take a look at it. And please feel free to give your, critique on it, or if you'd like to see something else in there that we can do legally and not, struggle with putting it on paper. We'll get it out to you and we'll make it a better report monthly so that everybody can take a look at it and feel comfortable with what's coming in. I mean, looking at the numbers for this month, the month of August, we had 6 confirmed overdoses. Fatal overdoses, we have 1 person that's still in the hospital that's unresponsive. So that means that the narcotics, when they got there, they saved them to keep them alive. But the effects probably hurt them, internally, physically, that they're unconscious and not responsive. And once again, when I go to the arrests, when you look at the arrests, they're down only at 1 at this point. Comments? Anyone?
No,
So
it's pretty
direct-
much, go ahead, Manita.
No, go ahead, Mario, go ahead.
No, it's pretty much what you just explained, pretty much explains most of it, Not many questions to ask because you just explained most all of it to us already. And basically, I guess what we're looking for, what Councilwoman Vogt said, is we're looking basically like Eric's report at the end of the month. We like to know how much overdose is what you just read to us. So it's pretty much explains everything what you just said, pretty much for me.
Thanks, Council.
Good. Director, if one piece of information, and I don't know if you collect this, but the number, with the diversion program and with the innovation program that we have in place, the attempt to divert people from being incarcerated to treatment instead. Is that a number that you could get of how many people during the month have been directed to these kinds of programs?
Yeah, that's an attainable number that we can identify. Also, I believe the program is coming in from the county into the court system now, where they're going to actually park the county van outside, that when the individual is in front of the judge, and you got to remember, a lot of this stuff is being done virtually. Nobody's really coming into the courtroom anymore. But I think on some of these narcotic cases, they're going to try to bring the individuals in. At that point, if they accept the diversion, they automatically go outside into the parking lot where the van is, and the county personnel and the clinicians there will bring them on and start all the documentation to put them into that diversion program. So that is something that we can put down on the report for you. I just wrote it down.
Good, great, because I know with the program that we do with the county right now, it's always, of course, it's always lobbying to get these grant programs, renewed. So all those kind of numbers would be really helpful. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So shall we set it up? Again, just kind of looking at the model that Eric has set up. If you send it out to us, at the end of the month? And
I
we
will send it out if you want it monthly towards the last meeting of the month. That's totally up to you. If you wanted to come out on the first of the month for the prior month, you tell me how you want it and we'll get it out to you.
Okay. Anybody have any preference? So let's do the first of the month, Domingos, and we'll keep looking at it and making it as informative as possible. Thanks to your team and for your responsiveness with all of that. I think it'll help all of us kind of get a better sense of what's going on. So many thanks.
Council
Council
President,
President,
I'm sorry.
just following up on the court participation. 2 weeks ago, I reached out to Judge Peter Paul about our court's involvement. There is a new program that's coming out, and I wanted to find out what the status was related to another venture that we have going on. And she said that right now, they still haven't issued the guidelines yet. They have to go before Judge Newman, who is the judge in charge of the local vicinages, and then hopefully this thing will be rolling out. So it's on the horizon. They just have to get the details worked out. But I know Judge Peter Paul is very interested in participating.
Yeah, yeah. Is that the diversion program, Domingos and George?
Yeah. I reached out to find out about it for a grant that we're seeking, and yes, it's the opioid use helpline and diversion program.
Great.
It's now serving the county, but the next step is going to be the municipal courts.
Correct. And what they're trying to do is eliminate jail time if they decide to go into the program and adhere to all the parameters. And once they complete it, then that arrest would be expunged off their record and not shown.
Mhm.
So if it's all right with everyone on council, I will send it out to everyone to take a look at. The report, the initial report that we did, I guess the infant stage of this report, and whatever you see on there and you feel that you would like, just, email back and we'll tweak it any way that makes it more understandable for city council.
Right, good. Yes, please do send it out. And again, thank you for everybody's responsiveness on that. Any more comments on that? Can we move on? Okay, last on the agenda for this part of the meeting, review of the regular meeting agenda. Anybody have any comments?
I have a question. Resolution R221-21. What street is that? It says block.
Oh, that's Broadway.
That's on Broadway.
Yes.
Is it possible, I think I've asked for this before, to have the streets put on these resolutions?
Yes, it is
It
absolutely.
makes it so much easier for us to understand where we're talking about.
Yes,
Thank you.
correct. And I think that what happened on this one, because, and I apologize, Nick and I were kind of scrambling around to get it done. I think that this is probably the resolution on the agenda, is the resolution title that we put as a placeholder. And then we drafted the resolution and it just the address didn't get on it. And I know that there's been some chatter about whether or not it's this property or the property on 2nd Avenue, but it is clearly the property on Broadway, and that's the lot and block.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Questions on the meeting agenda?
I'm good, Anita.
I have no questions.
Okay. Good. Mary Jane?
I just want to just note for the record that you do have, it's a little bit of a quirk in the process tonight. You do have a revision to the ordinance on energy aggregation. I spent some time on the phone with Food and Water Watch, who has been sponsoring these petitions across the state of New Jersey, and their local representative. And there was just one definition that they asked that be included in it, and it was a very technical definition, though. I had left it out only because I thought it was redundant. They asked if we put it back in, so it's a minor amendment. It will allow us to adopt it tonight, satisfies our obligation under the petition, and puts the energy program, gets it going. So when we get to that point in the meeting, we'll ask for a motion to amend it to include the definition that's underlined in the version that you have, and then we'll have the public hearing on the ordinance as amended.
And that's the way it's written in our.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. I just wanted to make sure the council understood when we got to it what exactly. Doing.
Okay.
Anita, I included that all in your read from.
Okay, perfect. Good. Okay, if there are no further comments, I need a motion to close the public portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion to adopt a resolution to go into executive session for the following items. Attorney-client privilege, energy aggregation ordinance, that'll be Lou Raynon.
And actually, I just
zoning-
explained it. So,
Okay. Zoning ordinance regarding the cannabis update, Lou Raynon. COVID-19 policy, George Jackson. Street vacation, George Jackson. Litigation, Lower Broadway, Lou Raynon.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?